So I'm Lauren Cohen. I'm originally from Toronto. I'm here in South Florida. I am a cross-border lawyer. I'm a realtor and a franchise broker. And I specialize in helping mostly Canadians, but not exclusively, invest in real estate and secure immigration visas through their investments. They also set up businesses, expand their businesses, develop franchise businesses, property management businesses all over the country, and often, as I mentioned, get immigration visas. So my superpower rests in turning a passive real estate investor into an active real estate business owner, which is what they actually need to do to get a visa. Whereas, of course, for you, with syndications, they want to be passive, which most of us as real estate investors want to be passively involved. But in order to get a visa, you have to be actively involved. So that's where my superpower rests. You can't just be an active investor. You have to actually be running a business. So being an investor alone will not qualify you as a potential visa prospect. You have to be running the investment as a business. So for example, in your case where you're running the syndications and you're raising the capital and you're probably the limited partner or the general partner, I should say, in most cases, and you're developing the syndication and all of that, you would be actively running that syndication as a business. So you could potentially qualify if you needed a visa. But if you were just one of the investors, a limited partner in that syndication, then that would not qualify you. So that would be a little bit of reverse engineering versus what we do. Yes, from time to time, we do have opportunities that will appeal to some of my investors that are in Canada that may or may not want visas, because not all, as you I'm sure know, Canadians that invest in real estate want visas. They just want to invest in U.S. real estate because it's a better opportunity. And then the more common way that I work with a client is that, Joe Canadian will come to me, or Joe Brit will come to me and say, I want to get a visa. How do I do it? And I want to do it through real estate. So I'm going to help them pave I actually have a signature program called 10 Steps to Immigrate Through Real Estate. And we follow these 10-step process to help them to make the investment, write the business plan, get the cross-border tax advice, all of the elements that they need, set up their structure, their entities, their LP, their LLC, whatever the case is, and make sure that they're following the rules and not creating more problems for themselves in the process. And then we help them develop their business plan and business model, and ultimately help them with their visa application and petition and submission. Now, in many cases, we do have real estate investors that are just investing in real estate and don't want a visa. They want to take advantage of various aspects of the U.S. market, whether it be for short-term rentals, for long-term rentals, for mixed use, for multifamily, and we work with those as well. So as I mentioned, I'm a lawyer and a realtor, and I'm the chair of the International Investment Committee for EXP Commercial. So I'm pretty well connected to people all over the country that do have access to deal flow and opportunities. And we help the client figure out where they want to invest, in what they want to invest, how much their budget might be, how they can get financing, and so on. It's very full service. So I'm not the one that actually looks for the deals. I am the conduit. So I'm essentially like brokering these situations. I'm a great referral agent. I don't actually write deals myself. So I just had a closing today. I referred the client. They purchased a property in Orlando. It was actually new construction, and I'm the referral agent, but I'm not actually involved in the closing of the transaction other than to collect a nice fee. In that case, I also help the client set up their structure and everything like that. This client is not getting a visa. They are just doing this for investment purposes, and they're going to rent the property ultimately as an Airbnb. So it really just depends on the client and the client's need and how that works. But my role is mainly in the real estate world as a passive real estate realtor conduit, more of an investment advisor as opposed to actually doing real estate deals. So going out on the ground, knocking on doors, getting the listings. I don't do that. Personally, I help companies raise capital, and I am a real estate investor, but no, I don't raise capital personally. A lot of the companies that I work with raise capital for their investments, so I help them create the structure and the securities documents and the offering documents and all of the stuff that's needed, and dot their I's and cross their T's so they can go out and raise the money from their accredited investors or friends and family or whatever the case may be. You're not going to like my answer. So my answer is basically, it's in my gut. I do crunch numbers. I have a system, but my gut ultimately is the deciding factor. And I don't mind doing flips as long as I have somebody to manage the flips. But I don't love doing a lot of burrs. I don't like being a landlord so much. But, you know, when opportunity is there, certainly here in Florida, there's a lot of that. I'll do it. So it really just depends on the circumstance and the type of investment that I'm considering. I mean, that's where I came from. I used to work at Citigroup and various large financial institutions, which are much more cut and dry, much less emotion. It's big corporate America. I didn't love it. I really didn't. You know, numbers are great, but at the end of the day, like what I do is a very emotional thing, because most people that I'm working with are not only investing, they're moving their families and their lives from one country to another, not just a city. And it's a big deal. I mean, I have one client right now, honestly, like, I feel like I've lived this with her. She has, like, I think 4 kids, and she's super stressed out. And today I said, let's go have some chocolate together, you know, by Zoom. And we did. And I mean, they need that. They need to know, just like real estate investing, that you're there, you're in it with them. And I've been through the whole thing. My ex-husband was deported on the way back from our honeymoon. That's what prompted me to become an immigration lawyer. So you don't hear that story every day, but it's a fact and it's true. And I used to be embarrassed. I didn't even talk about it. But once I started actually sharing it, it is in my book. But once I started actually talking about it, people found me much more relatable, because I wasn't this lawyer. I was a person who had been through hell to tell about it. So I'm an immigration lawyer. So initially I was writing, well, once I became an immigration lawyer, which took training and attending conferences, and then I started speaking, and initially I paid to speak, and then I got paid to speak, which is what I am now, paid to speak, which is nice. And in the process of doing that, I built a following, especially among other immigration attorneys, because most immigration attorneys are not business experts. So they would come to me and I would help them with the business side of their cases, and it developed into a nice little niche. And then this thing called EB5, which I don't know if you've heard of it, that's the program where the foreign national invests in a U.S. business and obtains a green card connected to their investment and the creation of jobs, indirectly or directly. And that became my foray for several years. And then EB5 dried up for political reasons and a lot of fraud. And I started shifting my business around to accommodate. And the Canadians started coming. And they said, we're done with the cold. We don't want to be here anymore. And I'm Canadian. And I had built this brand. And I'd started a podcast, which helped a lot. And then they just started coming. One day in January of last year, I had, I think it was 183 inquiries in one day. It was out of control. So I created a bot because there was no way that we could manage them all. And kind of just snowballed from there. And it's very cyclical. In the winter, it will be super busy again. In the summer, it's been less busy. But that's okay, because it just gives us a chance to really focus on our clients. Sure, you can find me pretty much everywhere through the brand Investing Across Borders, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. On Facebook, my main group is called Canadians Investing in and Immigrating to the U.S. There's a lot of free downloads available. And one of them is the 10 steps to immigrate through real estate. And if you send us an email at investingacrossborders, the number 1 at gmail.com, investingacrossborders, the number 1 at gmail.com, we'll be happy to send you a copy of that download. And perhaps you'd like to attend a future webinar of ours.